Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your boy, Khalif Towns, here at uGospel.com. I'm getting ready to talk to someone that's no stranger to any form of urban music. I mean, she's been in R&B, she's been in gospel, and also have done some other things, as well as an actress as well. So let's bring on the screen Miss Kelly Price.
Hello.
Hey, Kelly, how are you?
I'm wonderful today. It's a brisk, sunny day.
Listen, I wish I could say the same. It's snowing here in Philly, so that's no fun right now.
Yeah. You know what? I only like the snow when it's fresh.
Mm-hmm. And you've been from New York. I'm sure you're used to it, but
yeah. So when it first falls, it's beautiful, but it don't last long. The prettiness doesn't last.
Right. So how have you been? Let's just start with some current stuff like this pandemic. I know within the last year you have going through some things. How have you been since?
I have my days. Just to be totally transparent, I have my days. But I feel like I'm coming through it okay. Death is a part of life. Mm-hmm. And recently I just had someone say to me, and it made all the sense in the world, that God never made anything that lives that he didn't intend to die one day. And okay. So when I take things and put them in perspective, obviously I'm still grieving. I lost my grandfather, I lost my mother, I lost friends, and most recently my mother within the last couple of months. So it's a process. It's a process, but I can honestly say that I feel like I'm coming through it okay. The music is absolutely helping me. Throwing myself back into work is helping me because I mean, it's the best thing for me when I can sing about God's grace, when I can sing about the things that I was taught as a child coming up, where my foundation lies. That's what helps me. That's what helps me get through.
The things that you've been going through has been forcing you to work, and you're getting ready to release another gospel project, the EP. Tell us a little bit about that.
My God. So I have literally in between television projects and in between doing other stuff with TV and film, I've been recording probably for the last 3 years new R&B music and just kind of writing life out as it's been happening over the last few years with so many changes taking place in my personal life. And last year, when all of this was happening, as I was preparing for season 10 of Sunday Best, I did want to write something because in season 9, I closed out the season with I'm Still Here by Dorinda Clark Cole. And so knowing that we would have something coming up in the season at some point where I would need to be prepared to sing, I wanted to do an original piece. And that the conversation in my head turned into a post that I made with an old picture from the live recording that I did. And I said to myself, God, I didn't realize it had been 15 years since I put out a gospel project. Maybe it's time for a new one. And the response was crazy, including some dings in my inbox and my phone, like, hey, is your number the same? Because if you're serious, we should maybe have a conversation. And the conversation turned into a flight, which turned into a meeting, which turned into a project that we actually thought would have come last year. But especially within the fourth quarter when my mother passed, we just decided to kind of let me get through the end of the year and wrap back up at the top of the year. But I'm going to tell you something. Getting through the end of the year and then coming back to work like this at the top of the year, there was an extra little something in my back that made me want to get this out because people are ready to feel something other than grief. Again, people are ready to do something. I know I'm tired. I keep saying it to everybody I talk to. I'm tired of crying. I am tired of crying. And I know grief is a natural process, but I don't like this part of it. So we probably have more dance, praise, dance, which is unusual for me. I'm known for ballads and, power and that kind of thing. But grace to me is like a sweet lullaby between me and God, which I love. And but there's a little bit of everything on this project. I think when I made the statement, whatever side of me as a musician, songwriter, artist is your favorite, you're gonna get it. There is hip hop Kelly from the 90s on here before anybody knew what I looked like when I was just singing on all the records. There is straight up in your face gospel on this record. Grace, our leading single, which is just like I said, it's a lullaby. I named the song Grace, and I started it out thinking about my sister who passed a couple of years ago on Easter Sunday, as did my grandfather, and on last year. And so that even factored into when we're releasing this project. When I was speaking with the staff at Motown, I said I've had a lot of tragedy happen, especially during Easter time, Resurrection Sunday time over the last few years. And I wanted to change that feeling. I wanted to change that thing for me personally and then project that out to the world. I grew up celebrating the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ on Easter weekend. And over the last few years, I've lost several family members on Easter Sunday. Had several tragedies happen on Easter Sunday. And so I made an intentional decision to change what this time of year would mean for me. And so we're bringing you Grace on Easter weekend. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited. We got some dance music on there. We got a dance party for your life. We're gonna dance. I promise you. Sweat. You ain't gonna even need to go to the gym when you're done. But you won't have to go to the gym. I'm telling you. I literally have been in the house listening to this music and danced for like an hour and a half straight. I mean, until I. So I'm excited about people getting this. I'm ready to bring some joy into our ears and into our hearts, and I'm ready to live inside of that moment again. It's been a heavy year. Yeah.
Now, recently you made a statement. Let me just get it about the music. It stated, whatever side of me people love throughout the years, whether it's R&B and gospel, they are going to love this album. I mean, you just spoke a lot about that. But one thing I know about you, even with me seeing you perform live and just throughout, the history, because I've actually grown up to you throughout the years.
Awesome.
Regardless of what you do, if it's an R&B event, you never leave God out of it.
I don't.
So tell us a little bit about how, I'm trying to put this in the right words, because everyone knows that you're no stranger. You will pray for someone on the spot.
Really will.
Thank
you for saying that. Thank you for acknowledging that, because I will be on an R&B stage and it will turn into a prayer meeting. It really will. Thank you for saying that. That's the truth.
So tell us a little bit about the journey from 15 years ago, and then in between the projects that you've done to this current project. And what I mean by that is how, and I know you spoke a little bit about it just now, but how your faith still kept you moving forward. And like I said, regardless of what project you put out, there was always a touch of God on it.
Yeah, always. Not a touch. He's all up and through everything. I still have, when I talk about my grandmother, I get like chills. Because she's still with me. If she lives to see her birthday in September, as the old saints would say, if God spares her life to see the next birthday, she'll be 96 in September. Wow. And she has outlived 2 of her children and her husband, losing both my mother and her husband last year. And she fought off COVID and beat it last year. And so when I think about, like, in this moment, she would say, without God, I can do nothing. Without God, I would fail. Without him, I would be drifting like a ship without a sail. That's an old hymn, but that literally that is my mantra. That is my statement. And the title Grace, when I talk about grace, I can go on and on and on. Grace is the thing that we're all going to need it at some point, which is why we need to really, really understand what it is, because a lot of times we don't recognize how important grace is until we need it. We don't always give it when we should. And so when the word of God says, my grace is sufficient for you and my strength is made perfect in your weakness, that's the perfect description of why grace is necessary. The grace to handle whatever you're dealing with, and then the strength because you can't do it on your own. So there's not one without the other. Where there's God's grace, there is also his strength. So I don't have to be strong. I don't have to not cry. I don't have to not feel the moment, because with his grace comes his strength. And so the journey for me in between albums has seen my kids become adults. One of them is married. I have 3 grandchildren. I ended an almost 25-year marriage. I lost my sister. Just so many different things. I lost one of my closest friends, Whitney Houston. Like, just so many things that happened, and writing my way through it and trying to figure out how best to express it and honor the people that I love. It's always this way. It's always this way. God is never not in it. Even when the first gospel album came out, people used to say to me, "Welcome back," and I'm like, I never left.
Exactly.
I'm the girl that when I'm not on tour, I'm at Bible study at my church. Right. When I'm at home, I still am. I mean, like COVID won't let me be in the building, but I'm at Bible study in the house. So, it's called marketplace ministry, and it's biblical. It's biblically sound. It can be found in the Bible. And the only thing I know to tell people is that if God is big enough to make a whole world and create a universe, he's big enough to keep you no matter where you are and what area of life he graces you to walk through. If he's God enough to make you, he's God enough to keep you. It's a decision. And so for me, it's been a career path and an opportunity to show love and spread God's goodness on a stage instead of a pulpit. But the stage is my pulpit.
Exactly.
My pulpit.
Yeah, and one thing I know about grace, and not to get all deep, but grace is no respecter of person.
That's right.
No matter what you've been through, grace. If God's just throwing grace on you, he'll throw it on you.
Yes. I appreciate that. I appreciate that about God, because people will, this is the other thing I've been saying, the new phrase is cancel culture. People will cancel you in a minute. But when you think about it, as Christians, as believers, as people who say that we love, if God is love, then cancel culture has absolutely nothing to do with grace. Nothing. I believe in being accountable. Now, when people do things that are out of pocket, or if you break the law, if you do whatever, you should be held accountable. But being held accountable doesn't mean that grace isn't there for you. You are accountable, but then there is still grace. And I think that as a society, especially as people who call ourselves believers and lovers of Christ, we have to remember that even in holding people accountable, we still have to remember to extend grace, because everybody's going to have a day that they need grace to be extended to them. And ain't nothing like feeling like no one wants to give you a chance. You really need one, which is why we have to remember to always extend what God has so graciously extended to us.
Most definitely. Now, in closing, if you could just speak, just take a moment and just speak into someone's life in terms of, especially people still dealing with the pandemic, maybe battling COVID, lost someone, COVID, or, things of that nature. If you could speak to them, what would you say? I would say it's not over. It's not over until God says it's over. And I have to honestly say that if this is not the end that he showed you for your life, then you know that there's more left for you to do. Because full transparency, particularly with losing people the way I lost them last year, there were some nights where I was afraid to go to sleep. There were some nights that I cried myself to sleep, but there were some nights that I was afraid to go to sleep too. And God has not given us the spirit of fear, but a power of love and of a sound mind. And I had to remind myself, we have to practice this thing. Like you have to talk it. Faith comes by hearing by the word of God, and so you have to practice it. It's a thing. You literally have to discipline yourself and speak the promises of God over your life. If what you're experiencing in this moment is not the promise that he made to you, reject it with everything you have. And you got to be verbal with it. You have to be aggressive and verbal with it, just like you would be about anything else that you want in life. Be aggressive about knowing that if this is not the end that God showed me, then it's not my end and I refuse to receive it. And put the word on it. Hold God to his word. He holds us to ours. Hold him to his. He actually wants us to hold him to his word. So I'm good for walking through the house like, okay, God, I know you said it, but this ain't looking like that. So what's really going on?
and respectfully so. But that's really what come boldly to the throne of grace is. You see what I'm saying? It's not that it's not disrespectful. The boldness is, but you can't do it if you don't know the word. That's why you got to be in the word. When you come to the throne, you are able to do so boldly with the word in your mouth that he said. Because when you bring him his word, it's undeniable. And when God could swear by nothing greater, he swore by himself. And so all I can say is, God said, I swear I'm gonna bless you. He's gonna bless you. If God said, I swear I'm gonna keep you, he's gonna keep you. If God said, I swear I'm gonna heal your body, guess what? Your body's going to be healed. Do not allow other entities and other things and other sounds and other voices to be louder than the voice of God in your life. And you'll be all right. Like and that's not even just being too deep. It's understanding the difference between facts and truth. And the fact is, you might not be well in your body, but the truth is, I'm healed by the stripes of Jesus.
Most definitely. Well, thank you so much, Kelly, for this
You're
interview.
very welcome.
Grace, the single is out now, and the full EP comes out Easter, April 6th.
So Friday on Friday, April 2nd is when the entire project releases. That's Good Friday. And then on Resurrection Sunday, it's my birthday. And so I totally told myself, I will not be crying on Easter Sunday this year. It's not happening. I'm going to dance. I'm going to dance. Yes, and my tambourine.
Well, thank you again so much for this interview. And we're looking forward to the project. I actually love the single transparency that I can hear in the lyrics based off of previous music to this, and I'm just looking forward to the whole project.
I am too. I thank you so much. I can't wait for you to hear it. We got to do this again after it comes out so we can talk about everything. I got some stuff on this.
Yeah, I looked at the track list and I'm like, okay, this one song I believe is called Dance.
You going it's dance? Yes, it's a dance party song. Do you understand? And you literally you can get your buck on this one, or you can take it here if you want to. Like, I'm so serious. We're having fun with this project. We are.
Great.
We really are. I can't wait to hear it.
Well, definitely, we'll do this again once it comes out. And I mean, whatever you need, you got the support here from us at uGospel.com.
Thank you so much. I see you guys on IG all the time. So absolutely, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
All right.